A Kultured Kast has been created for entertainment and educational purposes. The advice given are opinions of our host and not of medical advice. The podcast is not a substitute for direct, personalized, professional medical care and diagnosis. Exercises and dietary advice mentioned should be discussed with your physician or personal trainer to find out what is best for you.
You want to get fit? How about Ultra Fit? Come grab your Ultra Fit meals at Athletic Culture. You'll love it.
This episode of Kultured Kast is made possible by Paul Sadlin Motors, your local Chevrolet, Buick, GMC, Cadillac dealer on Bayfield Street in Barrie and online at paulsadlin.com.
Okay, welcome back to another episode of a Kultured Kast. I think it's episode 13 with Jake Caden, welcome back. Mike, do you want to welcome Jake to the podcast?
Just a ritual.
Yeah. Today's episode is how to get shit done. Jake's the assistant general manager of Athletic Culture, creative producer of a Kultured Kast. He runs 3 different social media accounts, currently developing marketing material for a multi-unit Airbnb business, co-event planner for a CPA event that's going to be Barrie Naturals, and other ventures that can't be revealed yet. On a personal level, he's read over 30 books in the last year, and don't discount Corey. He's read 30 magazines in his life. That's good. Took courses on video and photo editing, completed a nutritionist certification just recently, and then successfully dieted down from 200 to 185. So how'd you get that shit done?
I've just learned so much about Jake just now.
Right? Yeah, I know.
These intros are getting
It's called
better and
research,
better.
Corey.
Yeah.
You should try it.
You should try it. You should try looking it
It's
up.
at 30 books. That's really,
That's insane,
It's good, yeah.
right?
I've opened a book and fall asleep.
Okay, to start, me and Todd were talking about this, and I find that most people do not set themselves up for success. They set themselves up for failure. It's the idea that if you want to get a lot of stuff done, each individual thing, you have to make it as easy as possible. Where most people do the opposite. They actually do it the hardest way you could possibly do it.
Yeah.
So of course you're not gonna be able to get everything done. A perfect example of that is, so generally as people, we are fantastic at creating ideas. We are horrible at holding on to them. And we usually work that in an opposite way. So if Todd said to me, hey, make sure you do this. Make sure you get this done. Make sure you look into this. Most people say, okay, and try to lock it in their brain. Like, you're fucking horrible at that. Like, that is literally the worst thing you can do. And the theory is called an open loop theory. So it's the idea that for us to hold on to that, we need to create an open loop. You need to constantly bring it back to the front of your mind. So the idea would be if Todd said, just make sure to look at the new price of bananas. Just making something up. I would leave, I'd go grocery shopping, and every new aisle I'd go, okay, got to make sure I check those prices for bananas. I'm not fucking doing that at the grocery store. So why am I thinking about that? I'm making this extremely difficult. Where if you have a system where you have an in tray, so let's say I would quickly, okay, I'll write that down and I'll put a reminder. So it's going to remind me at the time in which I can do that task. I can now forget about it and move on with my life. Now, when I'm at the grocery store, I'm actually thinking about what I am doing. It's the idea where if you are not holding on to ideas, which again is something we are not built for, you can then spend your energy to be creative, to get tasks done in that time. So I think the first thing that people need to do is set themselves up for success. Make every single individual thing extremely easy going forward.
To use that analogy,
Yeah.
every time I'm sent to the grocery store by my wife, I have a list. Right? So but really, I do, and actually all my family contributed to that list, and then there I am in the perotti salad trying to read 5 different handwritings, but that's what you're basically saying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people use what's called an in tray. So it's just a capture all. If I'm told to do 100 things over the course of the day, I just put it in my in tray. So whether that's, you can have a notebook, whether you can have an app, and just set it as in tray, you would write it down. Okay, check the price of bananas. Okay, I need to restock this. Okay, I need to send an email to this person. Now I know that that's not our constantly open loops in my head. Once you close all those loops, put them in the correct spot so they will come back to you at the correct time. Throughout that day, I'm going to give 2 examples. Let's say someone who does the bad way. They go, okay, lock it in.
Yeah.
Lock it in. 10 more things. Lock it in. Lock it in.
That's me.
That person is going to
No
go like,
shit.
Yeah.
that person is gonna,
Newsflash. We'll do one at the end of the episode.
Breaking news.
You don't know. You don't know about me being forgetful.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Well, hold on.
We worked together
Corey,
for fucking how long?
write down a note.
Yeah.
Insult Jeff later.
So let's do an example. Corey versus me. Okay. I
Right.
use the in-tray strategy, right? I
Yeah.
set it up. It's going to come back to me
Yeah.
later. Corey just goes, okay, remember it. Corey, if anyone asks like, hey, you busy today? He says, oh my God, I have a million things to do. If
Right.
you ask me, I'm going to say, oh, I'm doing this one task right now. That's what I'm focused on.
Yeah.
Not stressed. Everything's going to come back to me.
Yeah.
It's doing the work, not me. So it's the idea with an in-tray and an ability or an application, schedule, notebook that sends it back to you at the correct time in which you are now able to do it. You can focus on each individual task as you are doing them.
Yeah.
You close the loops.
Yeah. So now you and I work closely together every day.
Yeah.
You and I on an hourly basis are adding 10 things to our
Yes.
our in list,
Yeah.
right? Our inbox, our to-do list for your turn.
Yeah.
How do you then prioritize everything that's going into your list? So I've showed you how I do it. How do you do it?
Yeah. So how I do it is I have an in-tray. Again, that's kind of like your catch-all. You want to make it as easy as possible.
Yeah.
So that's just in-tray. I shove it in there, right? As I
Yeah.
get them, I shove it in there.
Yeah.
I have set times during the day. Obviously, the most important ones before I go to bed. But I have times during the day in which I know I'm going to sit down and work through my in-tray.
Yeah.
So I go, even if it's been 3 hours since I worked through my in-tray and I have 40 new things to do, I go through them and I think of their priority and when I can do them.
Yeah.
Because if, let's say I needed more information and realistically I wasn't going to get that information till Monday, I set it to pop back up on Monday.
Yeah.
I forget about it. I literally, you know what I mean? Like if you ask me on the weekend, do you have anything for Monday? I might go, no. Because I have it set to come back at that correct time.
Yeah.
So you prioritize each one and set it to a time in which you can actually do the task. So that's
Yeah.
my strategy.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you were making fun of me the other day at the counter saying, fuck, Doc, you're getting old. You better write this shit down.
Yeah.
I write down everything because I won't remember.
And
No.
then he forgets where he puts it.
Yeah, then I forget. That's right. Well, I hide my own Easter eggs too, pals, but it's very exciting. But yeah, if I don't know if the stats, and you're the stat guy,
Yeah.
but I remember when I was at university, I was taught you have to read something 6 times to have the same absorption
Yeah.
than if you read it X amount of times.
Wrote it.
So
Yeah.
wrote it.
Yeah.
So you have to write
Yep.
it down and you will absorb it faster than
Yep.
just reading it.
Yep.
Right? Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
But are you saying like setting on maybe like an electronic reminder like through your iPhone that can actually remind you at a specific time?
Yes.
Is going to be way more beneficial than handwriting a list of things that you have to get done because they can't remind you at a specific time.
Well, that's where you can have an old school. Like you can have a day planner and do it. It's because you'd have an inbox section or an in tray. So you'd write it down during the day. Oh, I need to make sure I'd get that. And then let's say you just did your in tray in the evening. Make it super easy, right? I just go to the in tray in the evening. In the evening, I'd go and let's say it was a Monday. I would put that in my calendar. Do it on Monday.
Yeah.
So then when Monday rolls around, I look at what I need to do on Monday. It's right there.
It's right there.
Yeah, because when and I'll start the day with 3 or 4, and by noon I have 30.
Yeah.
And there's pure panic mode.
Yeah.
I don't get into panic mode because I
Yep.
just say, okay, that's an A1, that's a B2, that can wait till tomorrow. That's like a C3, that's going to Wednesday.
Yeah, you've got your priorities.
And I'm old school where I'll flip the little sheet and I'll set the odd reminder in my calendar on my phone. But other than that, you have to organize.
Yes.
You have to, well, you have written down here, ruthlessly edit, or you're setting yourself up for failure. And I'm looking at this with binoculars.
Yeah, I always say that. I think the first step is to organize what you are doing, right? You might be living your life like a absolute dumpster fire and just kind of like setting things up and
Yep.
going over. The biggest thing is to obviously organize what you're doing. Once you organize what you're doing, you're going to see the input and output. You're going to notice that there's certain things you're doing that don't have any value whatsoever. So I always say to ruthlessly edit what you are
I
doing.
said that so smoothly.
Yes.
God.
Just take notes.
I would hate for myself or anyone else to miss out on their greatest goals because they are busy doing something they don't give a shit about.
Right. Yeah.
And if we don't have introspection and like organize our ideas, look through them in the evening, you're going to spend your entire life every day doing things you don't give a shit about and not have time to meet your greatest goals in life.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to have some sort of introspection, maybe a Sunday, which you go over the week and realize, okay, you know what? Maybe I was getting stuff done, but were they important?
Right.
Am I closer to my big goals over the week? Because if you spend 1 week and you're not any closer to your goals, you're just going to spend 51 more in the year.
Well, I think as time goes on, people lose sight of their goals and they just become complacent and they're just going through the motions in life.
Yep.
They're doing their dumpster fire life without ever having any type of end goal.
Correct.
They're just going through this.
And they think that's productive. Yeah. Right.
Because they're
can
still
be busy.
getting things done.
Yeah, you can be
But
busy.
it's not
but you're not
doing
productive.
anything.
No.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because it's kind of the idea of like holding on to ideas, whether creating them. There's no way you can consistently, open loop style, hold on and bring back your greatest goals in life. You cannot be doing that every minute of every day. You need to write them down, look at them on a weekly basis, adjust your trajectory.
Yeah. Can you equate this now to the gym, that you need to have a game plan when you come into every workout? Or do you guys do some ad lib workouts and it's the best workout of your life?
For ourselves or for clients?
For you. Oh, not for clients. I think you kind of have a game
Yeah, you
plan
gotta
for
do
clients,
it.
right?
Yeah. I think for me, I like to have a plan that I'm following, mostly for progressive overload to make sure that I'm increasing weights and everything like that. But yeah, do I go off the grid every once in a while and maybe I go a few weeks where I'm not following a program? Like absolutely.
Yeah. And Jeff, you and I have done shows without an organization, without a game plan of what you're doing, what you're eating, when, peak week, everything leading up to that.
Oh, it'd be a clusterfuck.
Oh my God, it'd be horrible.
You wouldn't make it.
No, you wouldn't even make it to stage.
No
way.
Because that's why I have a coach, right? Every coach needs a coach.
Yep.
And my coach, he updates my meal plans. If it wasn't for him, I would be eating the same thing or not eating enough or not tweaking it enough. And
Just gives you that structure, right?
Yeah.
and it gives you the accountability, the structure, and I know going into my week what the plan is. Just like you're saying.
I was literally just talking about, I don't remember if it was with any of you guys, but how important, like for me anyways, like structure is. When I do not have structure, I fall off 10 times out of 10.
I'm the same way.
10
I'm
times out of 10.
absolutely the same.
So I think I know a lot of people that they've competed. It's not even so much for that end result of stepping on stage.
Fuck, none of you can talk to me.
Right?
I know.
What's going on?
It's just to go through that process of having the structure of a prep.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And then let's go back to what you point when you asked me if it was about you or clients. What about your clients? Because we had a meeting a long time ago about, hey, you guys need to prep. I want to see prep when you're on the floor. Blah, blah. You walk around, you have a clipboard.
I use
You use an iPad, don't you? Yeah. But then you and I were speaking about how it gets so busy in the gym. All of a sudden you're looking and the next 3 exercises are, okay, now I got to pivot because all the machines are taken.
You got to be able to pivot.
Yeah.
Especially when you're in a gym that's not like personal training only.
Yeah.
There's going to be equipment that you want to use and you just can't.
So how far out for a client have you prepped? Or do you do it like on a Sunday for that week, those 3 sessions, or a Sunday for those 4 sessions?
Well, they follow a program. So I update their program every 5 to 6 weeks.
Okay, but you as a trainer, like that you're putting me through legs on Monday, push, pull, legs Friday type of thing.
Yeah.
That's game planned
But
out for
sometimes
weeks?
I'll check in with them because if they have already, because my clients come in and work out on their own too.
Yeah.
So if Monday's legs, but they came in on Sunday and just did a random leg day, then I'm like, all right, like, how's everything feeling? What are we doing?
Yeah.
She's, okay, you know what? I did legs the other day. I'll pivot and do another program, like another day.
Yeah.
But their weeks are programmed for 5 to 6 weeks.
So that makes your job a lot easier, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
It's a lot of work short term, but then for 5 to 6 weeks, it's not a lot of programming because I
Yeah.
have everybody on
Yeah.
point.
And
Yeah,
that goes back to accountability and everything holding them, right?
Yeah, I do the same thing too. Like if I have a client that I'm seeing 5 days a week, I know that they're not usually coming in on their own. So same kind of thing as Jeff. I usually set up a program for 6 weeks for my client.
Yeah.
If I have a client that I see 3 days a week, but they're coming in twice on their own, then the next time I see them, we're just doing the next workout on the program. So they'll take their program for their off days and then we'll just do
Yeah,
the
so
next.
they may even dictate the schedule,
Yep.
right?
Oh,
Based
yeah.
on muscle soreness or based on what, hey, they came in and did an impromptu Sunday.
Yeah, so it's like sometimes I'll have a client come in and I'll say, hey, what are we training today? And if someone on the outside looking in might be like, wow, that trainer's really unorganized. He should know what they're working.
Yeah.
Well, I just need to know if he came in yesterday, we're
Yeah,
doing legs.
absolutely.
If he didn't, then we're doing chest, right?
Yeah,
Like it
yeah.
just depends on that.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, having structure.
Yeah.
It's even like energy levels too, right? Like if they're dragging ass, I really don't want to put them through an intense leg day.
Yeah.
No, that's a good point too.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to adapt,
Just adding
right?
stress to somebody who's already stressed out is just going to be counterproductive.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And then you and I spoke on this topic
Yep.
and related it to people counting calories. Right? So, talk about that because people will go, I don't want to count.
Wait, what do you mean?
When you're talking about okay, I'm holding you to this nutritional plan,
Yep.
and you have to count calories, macros, whatever, calculate your macros, whatever. And people,
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. Well, then how are you going to be successful if I'm giving you the guidelines to do that?
Yeah, if you're tracking them out, and especially it's the idea, especially with macros. Macros are the best thing ever. Just
Yeah.
because you can
They're easy.
You can basically pick a number that they're going to be out at, 4 months from now, work your way backwards, run the math, make micro adjustments as they go,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and be there within, a 2-week time span. And people don't realize how important tracking is. The idea that so for example, if you tracked everything, let's say you tracked all your macros, all your lifts, you know what I mean? Like really dug into the data.
Yeah.
After a few weeks, you can tell if it's working or not.
Yep.
If you are ad-libbing it, eating whatever, lifting whatever, it's
No
going
way
to take
to.
you 6 months before you realize you haven't fucking changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
You haven't
Yeah.
made any strength in,
Yeah.
like progress or any
Yeah.
body recomposition.
Yeah.
Well, because if you're doing like, say 50 different exercises a week, I don't know, probably even more than that.
Yeah.
And you're not tracking anything like you were saying, you're not remembering exactly how many sets,
No.
how many reps, what weight you did on every single exercise.
No.
Right.
I think you see the people on the gym floor that are most successful are the ones that are writing down or calculating or recording what they just did.
Yeah.
And you can tell that those are the more serious ones too.
100% you can. And the other ones are just kind of,
Well, it's kind of funny where the people who seem to stay on their program the longest get the most results. It's a weird thing.
Yeah. If you just follow
Get
the
out of here.
process.
it's strange.
is that how it
How
works?
does
There must be some
Yeah.
sort of correlation to these two.
Can we sell that idea?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll save PSAs for later.
Yeah.
And I love your idea. We need to have.
Oh, I already did it.
Oh, you did it?
But
Oh,
I just
beautiful.
need a logo for it so it matches all the other ones.
What was the one on your page? Because my daughter, my wife, and I read it last night. Is it commitments?
I don't know.
Oh, you had as in
Foregone conclusions.
foregone conclusions.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Oh, those are good.
And that's what I texted you and said, buddy, send me that PSA because
Yeah.
it was gone on the story and I couldn't
Yeah,
find it.
I went
right?
through the archives and saved it.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's just brilliant stuff. So you talk about don't set yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
Right. So we're talking about how to be successful. Give us an example of when someone's failure or they set themselves up for failure, and we see it every day, but they're not changing what they're doing.
So setting yourself up for failure, I briefly talked about it, is reviewing your week. So you have your ROI.
Yeah.
It's the idea where, let's say on Sunday, you say, hey, you know what? For 45 minutes, I'm going to do 2 things. I'm going to review how my last week went, right? So you go over each day, okay, what I got done. If I had some big goals I wanted to achieve over the week, how close am I to meeting those? And then at the end of that 45 minutes, you know what? I'm going to make 3 big goals for the following week. I'm going to try to push towards those by next Sunday. So that is 45 minutes every 7 days. If you do that for a year, I'm going to say, I don't know, you're like realistically 20 times closer to your goals than if you didn't. Why would someone not do that?
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
if you can explain to someone
Mhm.
that for 45 minutes a week you work and you can get 20 times more out of your year. So if you're making the choice not to do that, you are setting yourself up for failure. Those low-hanging fruits, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like a lot of work, but a lot of people don't do it.
Don't do it.
It's like saying to
Well, but I also think that some people do it, but they do it with their business, but they don't do it with their
That's a
You're
great
right.
point.
You're
right?
absolutely, or
they
your
do it with
relationship.
their- yeah.
Yep.
it's kind
Great
of like saying to
points.
someone, hey, you know what? If you can just cut beer out of your diet,
Yeah.
right? It's very
Yeah.
small to start, and then you can
Yeah.
kind of go from there, right?
Yeah.
No, but you're right. Everyone, and my wife's a perfect example. I chirp at her and make fun of her all the time with how disorganized she is in the house, and not our marriage, we have a great marriage, but
Yeah.
holy mackerel, put her in front of the computer.
Yeah.
She's hyper focused.
Yep.
So when we all first shut down for COVID, right? So the gym I was at closed down. Obviously the girls are home from school, and Tammy didn't have the home office at the time, so she's working at the dining room table. Well, then Keita Justice and I found out about Money Heist on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we are literally binging, laughing, yelling at each other from 2 different stories. And she did not come off that computer for
No.
it took us 3 weeks to binge it, the 3 of us.
Yeah.
But we're talking about that. And I would look up and she just doesn't zero.
Yeah.
She dialed in.
But she gets out of that computer, she walks into her personal life and she's everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
And she was preparing for an interview about a month ago, two months ago. And she came down, she goes, okay, I need to rehearse some questions. So absolutely, honey. So I gave the questions and I looked over to her answer sheet. And it was just, there was a block here, a block over there. And she flipped to get the other side of the answer. And I said, honey, your notes are like your brain.
Yep.
You need to organize your brain first.
Yep.
then organize your notes, and then come back down and we'll answer the questions. And we laugh about it because when she's in the job, she is A through Z.
Yes, exactly.
I's dotted, T's crossed. She comes out of that and it's just scatterbrained. But rightly so.
But in the same sense, it works for her.
It works for her, but it's easily explainable because the lady's a superhero. Right? Like she has everything going on. She's running a family. She has a full-time job, 2 dogs, a cat, right? And me to deal with. Right? I beat you to the punch. But like I call her a superhero all the time, but it's funny how in one line, and to go on your point, you can be so hyper-focused and organized, and on the other side, you're just haphazardly tripping through life, right?
And Jeff mentioned that because if you used her as an example, the skills, routines, techniques she uses to organize her personal or for her business life. Yeah. Does she use any of those on her personal life? No. It's right. So it's proven that they work. Clearly, she is hyper successful, organized, everything. Yeah. So that is the inevitable outcome of using those techniques. Yeah. It's just sometimes people just fail to just pick them up
and transfer them to the
somewhere else.
Something else.
And it's sort of like in and I'm almost underplaying. Like if there was a week, and I'll give an example. So we had our granddaughters for a week because my stepson is on vacation at a wedding. My daughter came home from university because she wasn't feeling well. I have a cardiac conversion on the Wednesday. And Tammy did not miss a beat. It was almost the more hectic it got. Yeah. Well, you were referring to this. The more hectic it got in her life. She's like, boop, 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 just like she was at work. Yep. But then when it's like a Sunday and you sit around, you're like, oh, what do you want to do? Neil, there's 10 things you want to do. But you're like, I'm just going to put that away. None of right? I think that is a struggle that all of our clients have had.
Urgency?
That if there's no sense of urgency, if there's no structure, then it's like, I think I overheard you talking with Sandy. You said, if I don't have a client till 1, well, I'm not going to get out of bed at noon. But if you had a client at 8, 10, 1, your life would be, your meals would be planned.
Exactly.
Right?
It's like, what I was saying to her was like, we all go through these slumps. And I think over maybe the last couple months, I've been in a slump where it's like, normally my routine is like, I like to wake up at the exact same time every day. And exactly like you said, have that structure. But there are some people, and I have some clients that have kind of talked to me about this before too, is, if they don't start work until 10, they're waking up at 9. If they don't start work until 12 p.m., they're waking up at 11. Yeah. And which is kind of going into like the next point that I wanted to talk about. I know that I'm the only one out of us 4 that wakes up after 5 a.m. But I know that some people
just call the middle of the day.
The middle of the day. I know that some people will wake up at 5 a.m. and they got to be out the door at 5:15. Yeah. Right. I've seen your routine in the morning and you're waking up hours before you start work and you're in the gym extremely early doing a workout. So talk maybe a little bit about like what your routine looks like and when that started and maybe how that's changed your life for you.
Yeah. I think my routine has made micro adjustments based off of different things. What I want to focus on. But like you said, those people that wake up at 5 and then they run out at 5:15. I would like to say I get a lot of shit done. Like I get a lot of shit
before
done.
your day even really starts. Yeah. Before I'm awake. Jake's like,
but I still have it planned out so that if I like, let's say like you've been to my house, the trees are beautiful, especially with covered in snow. Yeah. I still have planned out where if I leave to go to work, if I see it, it looks really good. The air's really crisp. I have time to go for a 5-minute walk. Yeah. I with the amount of stuff I get done, I'm never busy, never in a rush. And that's the idea of planning ahead. And so what you were talking about too, so I think it's called the Peterson's business law. It's the idea that a task will take up the exact amount of time you give it. Yeah. So if you said, hey, get this sales presentation done, you have 3 weeks, it's going to take me 3 weeks. But if he said, hey, get this sales presentation done in 3 days, it will take me 3 days. 3 days. Yeah. So no matter what you get on your plate, it has a due date. Even if it doesn't have a due date. Yeah. It has a due date because you will get astronomically more stuff done in a shorter amount of time. And it's the idea where if you said, hey, I'm going to work on this every day until it's due and it's 3 weeks, you're going to work on that every day until it's due in 3 weeks. If you said, hey, I have a week to do it, you're going to work on it every day for a week and get it done. And then the next 2 weeks, I don't know, play cards with your girlfriend.
Well, see, I think people do it the opposite. Is if they have 3 weeks, they dick around for 2 weeks, and then crunch it in for 1 week.
High school projects.
And I think because of that mentality in high school, that's carried over into
adult life. For sure. And it carries over into their exercise routines or their commitment to getting whatever their goal is in
Yep.
physical health, right?
Like I've had clients where they're incredibly successful business wise.
Yeah.
But then when you talk to them about eating, they're just like, oh fuck, like I didn't meal prep and I didn't this. It's
Yeah.
like you just planned to fail.
Yeah.
Because you didn't, or you failed to plan, so you planned to fail. But in business, you would fire somebody in your company.
did that,
Right.
yes.
You and I are
What
thinking
you
of the
did.
same guy,
Yeah.
aren't we? Yeah, 100%.
So it's wild.
Yeah.
So may I ask a question? Because you and I were, again, and Sandra were talking about getting into funk. And does structure help you get out of a funk, or does structure, or how would structure and time organization help you get out of a funk? Do you think they're related?
Yeah. So I think having a structure, and especially keeping a structure, keeps
Yeah.
you out of a funk.
Yeah.
So like the idea of me getting up at 4:30. So me getting up at 4:30 is habitual, in the sense where my alarm goes off and I go, oh, and I get out of bed and I'm standing up. It would actually be harder to break the habit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what would be unnatural would be to stay in bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the idea, it's hard to get into a funk once you have
That structure.
that structure. So yeah, I think that's a key metric to not getting any funk is to have a structure. If you do not have a structure, you're more likely to start to not do things, right?
Okay.
If you're doing haphazardly, you are basing your time on motivation,
Yeah.
which comes and goes like the wind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Structure is every day.
And I think, when you're in a funk, and we've all been there,
Yep.
I think having that to reach to,
Yep.
to grasp at is
Yep.
going to help you get out of that, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you know what though? Like, how many times do you hear someone say, you say to someone, "Oh, how was your vacation?" And like, "It was good, but I'm glad to be back home, back in my routine."
Back in my
Yeah,
I hear that
that's
all
true.
the time.
That's
Yeah.
very
All the
true.
time.
That's very
Yeah.
true.
And I think people sometimes lose sight of the fact that when you organize your time and you work on time management and productivity, it's so that you can have more time to do the things you love. It's right. It's not about just being some sort of machine. It's so that I can be very fulfilled doing all these things, but I have more time to play cards and pitch.
Yeah.
I have more time to take my dogs on walks. Same that in the morning, if I really think, oh, it'd be so nice to just maybe take a quick lap around the house because it's the air is so nice right now and the trees are beautiful, I can do that. It's not that I didn't even notice because I'm already 5 minutes late for work.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There's a famous general that did a speech at a university graduation ceremony, and he said, if you want to set yourself up for success day by day, the first thing you do when you get out of bed is make your bed. And he said, because now you've already checked off a list.
Yep.
And there's a euphoric feeling, endorphins released when you've checked something off a list. Everyone knows that feeling.
Yeah.
So then start your day with just the easiest task. Right.
Goal crushing has momentum.
Yeah. Oh, well said. Yeah. 100% it
Yeah.
does. 100% it does. Okay. Anything else you want to touch on before we go to rapid question? Anything we didn't cover?
No, go ahead. Let's,
All right.
fire off some
No,
questions.
that was chapter 1 of the book
Yeah.
that Jake's reading right now. So
Yeah. Do you, okay. On that note, do
Yeah.
you time slot reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Jake talks about everything.
But it's true though. You
Yeah.
need to do that.
Yeah, I
right?
time slot reading, and you know what I do? I read.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
Now I'm just going like,
It's
okay,
just so
what
simple.
else does he time slot?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
come home.
Yeah.
Hey, Paige.
Yeah.
All right, 5
Yeah.
minutes.
Yes, I was gonna say 7.
Well,
I was
you
gonna
got
give 7
time
minutes,
slotted in
actually.
5 minutes because I know what I got time slotted.
7 minutes later, thank Paige. Then read a book. Okay.
Kama Sutra.
Okay. Texting or talking?
Texting.
Talking.
Texting.
Really? Oh God. It's
Depends
so
on the
much.
person, but like texting 9 times.
Well,
And I said
Convenience?
texting, pal, not the other one.
Convenience wise, texting.
Right.
11 out of 10 talking.
Don't call me
Yeah.
when it's convenient for you. Text me so
God,
I
you're
can.
grumpy. Why are you so grumpy?
I'm not grumpy.
It's
I'm
a
just. It's
little
a,
thing.
it's
yeah,
a convenience.
it's because he wakes up every day and he's still 5'2.5".
Yeah.
Do you not agree? Is that why you say texting is convenient?
It's just quicker. But I what I hate is when you get into a texting conversation and you're like going back and forth and then it just stops.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And
that's
you're
good.
like, wait, what the fuck? Because if you were on the phone with me, we'd be talking back and forth. You wouldn't be like, yeah,
click.
hold on.
Just gonna,
You'd
he's like,
fuck around and
Yeah.
come back 20 minutes later, be like, yo, you still there?
he makes a great point. Is because so we have texting, email, phone calls.
Yeah.
The worst one is texting. Emails, it's texting, but it's okay not to answer, right?
Oh, that's really, that's true. That's
Where
very true.
phone or just do a phone call where like it is done at that moment. You don't stop talking until it's done.
Yeah. Well, I was texting with
Texting's like
Tammy
the
before we
worst of
left.
both.
I called her and I said, honey, I don't have time to text.
Yep.
I'm about to drive. I'm about to get in the car, go to the studio. So I think it's a lot more efficient.
Yep.
Right. But you're right. Sometimes you just don't want to talk.
My
to
dad
person.
calls me every single day when I'm working, and I tell him, if you need, just text me, because like I can't answer the phone at work.
Yeah.
So you'll call me 10 times, I will pick up 0 times.
Yeah.
Right. But if you text me, at least I can respond to you when it's convenient.
Yeah.
For me.
Why don't you just call him back when you're not busy?
Yeah. Why don't you just
Or I
show
could
him
do
some-
that.
Why don't you just show him some love?
Probably
You're not a very nice son.
Yeah.
I don't have that time slot.
You know what? If he needs to talk, have him call me. I'll talk to him.
Yeah.
You're gonna ignore it. All right. Fill in the blank. Taylor Swift is
bitter.
bitter.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It is good. It is
Yeah.
good. And some say she has a right to be bitter.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Why? Yeah.
Illogical.
What
Illogical.
part
Yeah,
did she
really.
play in all those relationship downfalls?
Well,
Well,
that's-
Top point the
50%
finger.
of them.
Yeah.
So I think Taylor Swift, I feel like at this point in time, needs one song that says, hey, we've had so many terrible breakups that maybe it's somewhat my fault. Like
I'm
that
the
song
common
does not
denominator.
exist.
Yeah, I saw a meme years ago, and it said, I think Taylor Swift should make an album called Maybe I'm the Problem.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Oh my God. I was going to say hot, but okay.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are really. What was the last song you downloaded?
Oh, I downloaded it this morning.
Yeah. Let's see.
Oh, actually,
It is the new song by Teddy Swims. Face Myself by Ellie Doohy and Teddy Swims. Doohy.
Mine's an old song, but I'd never heard it. It was I Won by Future and Kanye West.
Of course.
Oh, nice.
I
Well,
won.
we're clearly not talking about our bracket challenge, are we?
Oh, God, no. No, we're not.
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
We're both saying that. Yeah.
Trevor, like Trevor from here.
Yeah.
I was working out. This was yesterday, and we had talked. Then we separated. We were working out, and then he kind of like waved, kind of like point at your phone, and
Yeah.
he had sent me a song. He
Oh,
said,
no,
like,
wait,
this is a
really?
banger! Like you gotta listen to it right now.
Is it a banger?
Oh, it was good. It was Your Betrayal by Bullet for My Valentine. So
Ah.
it's
Oh,
an
they've been
actual
around
headbanger.
forever. They've
Yeah.
been around forever.
Yeah. Would you rather speak every language on earth or be able to talk to animals?
Talk to him.
Talk to animals.
Talk to animals.
100%. Right. Who is your first celebrity crush?
Hillary Duff.
Oh fuck, Trish Stratus.
Really?
Who is that?
Trish Stratus? She's a WWE.
Yeah, she's a
wrestler.
wrestler.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's the brunette from Saved by the Bell?
Oh,
What was-
Tiffany.
Oh, I know exactly who
Thiessen?
you mean. I can't remember. I don't know her name though. Yeah,
The
she's
one with
cutie
with
though.
Zach, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
I think it's Tiffany. Thiessen.
Yeah. Yeah, that was where like you're a young boy and you're like, why do I feel
You know
this
what?
way? Why do
Yeah.
I really like
That's
her?
probably why.
Mom, what's happening?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I'll
What's going on right now?
I'll date myself. Farrah Fawcett.
Okay.
I had posters of her above my bed.
Were they black and white
Very
posters?
embarrassing.
You had?
I had posters
Okay.
above my. Yeah, not now.
No, I thought I was like, that's gonna be a little weird if you
That
got
is
them right
yeah,
now.
it's pretty
Once I got married, then I had to take them down.
Yeah.
And I used to sleep with the football too, so that's pretty sad. Besides monkeys and apes, name another primate. Oh,
lemurs?
stumper. Lemurs, good for you. I thought that would be the hardest one.
Bigfoot. If we found him, maybe that's
technically
He's such a
speaking,
shifty guy
yeah,
for a big
I
guy.
know.
No, you got what? You have lemurs. I thought was the hardest one. You have orangutans, gorillas.
Yeah.
Oh fuck! I
yeah.
thought that's all. In
I
the
was putting
category
that
of
in
monkey
the-
and ape.
You know what?
No.
Pick up one of his 30 books.
Yeah.
For Pete's sake. What does the acronym SCUBA stand for?
Oh, C.
What C? What is? That's a letter, man.
No, so I meant like C.
Are you just naming the letters?
No,
It actually starts with an S.
C as in,
No.
I'd like to buy a seat.
oh no, I was gonna.
I
do
thought
the-
you guys would just have this right away.
I have no idea.
No?
idea.
I've heard it before, but I'm not gonna remember it.
Swimming controlled under below.
Yeah, you're on a roll. You got it. You got it.
Jeff's just saying words that start with that.
I'm
letter.
going to say breathing apparatus is last.
Yes.
Okay, that's what. So that's all I got.
Self-contained underwater breathing apparatus. Good for you, though. He got the first three.
I was doing
Yeah.
the acronym for seals.
He got random words out of
Okay.
his mouth.
Ask for permission or beg for forgiveness.
Beg for forgiveness.
Who
I
are we
will
talking?
ask for forgiveness.
Who are we talking about?
Yeah. Just in general. Ask for permission or beg for forgiveness.
Business, it's beg for forgiveness.
Yeah.
Relationship, it's ask for permission.
Yeah, I concur.
That's respect.
Say something cool.
Something cool.
You won't be able to. That's actually very cool. All right, my last one. Name the 7 deadly sins. None, really?
No.
Is that like a religious thing? or-
No,
Yeah, I don't even-
you've never
like-
seen the movie Seven with Brad Pitt and
No.
Morgan Freeman?
Okay, wait.
Oh, buddy, watch that tonight.
So greed,
Greed is one.
gluttony.
Gluttony is one.
Jake saw the movie.
Cheating, infidelity,
No.
No.
seduction.
No. But you could say lust. I'll give you lust. for
Okay,
that.
so
lust.
that's 3. Lust.
Sloth,
Yeah.
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 wrath, envy, and pride.
Ah,
Those are the 7 deadly sins. I thought you guys would.
no.
You know.
All right. That's the end of episode 13. I'm having a hard time today, guys.
Yeah.
Man,
all
someone-
What do you got in that shaker?
Get me. I need some Grey Goose, especially after last night. We'll see you in the next episode of the Culture Cast.
This episode of Culture Cast is made possible by Paul Sadlin Motors, your local Chevrolet, Buick, GMC, Cadillac dealer on Bayfield Street in Barrie and online at paulsadlin.com.
Breaking news! If you like that and you want more of it, go to our YouTube channel, like and subscribe, and we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all the other stuff.